Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm super excited to be here this evening. If you haven't noticed in the last maybe 2 weeks or so, what I've been doing is I'm featuring different people that I have been making connections and collaborating with. And it's actually titled that, for that matter, Connections and Collaborations. So if you and I have made a connection and we are collaborating in one way or another, do not be surprised if you receive an email or a message from me saying that I would like to feature you and get to know you and share you out to my audience. And that's what this is all about for tonight, is the process of just getting to know people. Now, if you know anything about the energy we have going on, we are in what's known as the age of Aquarius, meaning Pluto has transit into Aquarius. And all that really just means is that Aquarius is about collaborations, networking, connections, connecting with your tribe, people who are going to support you, lift you up, and encourage you to do the most wildest things possible, because that's what we really need to do in this world that we're living in as entrepreneurs, as spiritual beings, as those of us who want to really stand in our light and stand in our purpose. Now, before I dive in, let me introduce myself now that you have a gist of what's going to be taking place tonight. I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Clone. I'm the founder of Holistic Fitness NY. I am your certified holistic personal trainer, holistic integrative teacher, Reiki master, medical astrologer, master of numerology, card creator, and card reader. And as always, I ask you to take a moment just to share out this page, share out this live, let people know that we are here, and we are streaming on three platforms. We're streaming on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So it's going to take me a couple of seconds to make sure I am streaming where I need to be. So if you are watching right now and I look a little distracted, that's because I am, and that's because I'm just trying to get myself in alignment to all that there is right now that's going on. And we are streaming on YouTube. So if you are watching from YouTube, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and share this out. Help me grow my YouTube channel, bring a little bit more traction there. I appreciate it. And I know we're already streaming on Twitter, so there's no sense to going there. And I'm going to land on Facebook and just share it out to everybody and anyone, because that's what this is all about for tonight. Let's see if Facebook is going to play along. Most recently, Facebook has been quite a challenge in reference to sharing it out. So anyway, I am on Facebook, and for right now, I'm not able to share my end, but I'm sure at some point I will. However, what I would love to do is I would love to bring and introduce you to my featured guest for this evening, known as Baba Sam Shelley. Little introduction on him. He's the founder and spiritual teacher at Vibrant Soul Society. He's also the founder, Mystic CEO rather, at Beyond Head Trash LLC, and he's our spiritual teacher and healer. An interesting fact, which I'll chat with him a little bit about once he comes on. I'm all about birthdays. I'm all about zodiac signs. And I'm all about learning about a person from a soul level. And I always have to check in on people's birth signs and see where they are, where they sit, and how we're connected in so many ways. And Baba did not disappoint, as he is on the cusp between what's known as Capricorn Aquarian energy. So all that being said, I'm going to bring him up to the table so we can have a fantastic conversation. Welcome, Baba. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Joanne. Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with us. As I had an opportunity to meeting you several weeks ago based on something you offered out, where I had a chance to be on your platform and you had a chance to share me out. And I just found your energy to be just so magical, so inspiring, and uplifting. Share a little bit about what it is you do.
Yeah, so before we get really into what I do, it's important for people to know where I came from, that I never had a spiritual teacher. I simply discovered that I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts. But this was a big realization to me because I was a very sick man for 38 years with bipolar, multiple sclerosis, and all these health issues. But I discovered I had all these thoughts, all these labels, but I wasn't that. If I wasn't that, who am I? And I heard a voice say, perfect spirit. So we're all perfect spirit watching this tonight. So what I really do is help people remember who they are beyond this, the stories, beyond that head trash, really tapping into our true essence. For within us is the answers we seek, that the healing begins from inside of ourselves once we know that we're not all this, the stuff in the head. So basically, what I do is just remind people who they are. And then there's some other things I do as well, like get into a translate state. I can clear this mental debris. I've worked with a Peruvian shaman. I can bring forward to doctors in the spiritual realms. And I never trained for any of this besides working with that shaman one time on how to bring forward the doctors. But besides that, it's just following my own spirit, my own soul, and just blending and merging with others and help them to live a better life and a life on their terms.
I love that, and I was so interested to know where the your website title came from, Beyond the Head Trash, and it just makes a lot of sense in regards to excuse me, what it is you do, and the fact that you quoted that you've never really had any formal training in any of the fields you do. However, as I'm sure you know this, you've had so much training, mastering in past life, and in this lifetime. Here you are as the master, as the teacher, to teach what you've experienced on in your own hands-on experience from what you've shared regarding different things that you've gone through. You know, one of the things that I find fascinating about the spiritual realm in itself is it's not really about the certificate, so to speak, as much as it is really about the journey that we literally go through, either in our past life experience, lingering on into this life experience, and then here we are teaching it out. So when you speak about your journey, and I know that from when we last spoke, you had mentioned that you had some health challenges over the years that you've overcome. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's what I talked about briefly in the beginning. Yet, I was hit by a car at age 6. And so when you were hit by a car at a young age, they've shown studies today from the head trauma and all the head injuries that I had. They can actually show that through imaging today that usually leads into a bipolar. So I was an undiagnosed bipolar going through school. That was really challenging. Wasn't really officially diagnosed until my 20s when I was suicidal. Um, so yeah, I was suicidal in my 20s. Then I also had these chronic migraines because I was really stressed, overwhelmed with life. And I just had a lot of self-criticism. So it fired out the autoimmune diseases from psoriasis to psoriatic arthritis. When it's itchy skin rash, it gets into your joints. It creates an arthritis. And then later in life, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis after I had the worst migraine of my life. But within a few days, I lost the ability to walk. I couldn't see. Half my body was numb. That was multiple sclerosis. So I walked into the hospital and I left rehab in a wheelchair and walker. So I lived with multiple sclerosis for 7 years. And that's when I discovered meditation. And then through meditation, I discovered that I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts. Because when I was sick, I was always saying, I have bipolar, I have multiple sclerosis, I am this, I am that. No, I'm not any of that. That's what the body is currently experiencing, but it doesn't have to define me. And yet many of us are being defined by that. And we need to let that go because that becomes this mental interference, the mental garbage that needs to be thrown out.
I couldn't I couldn't agree more. And I was just taking some notes regarding everything you were saying, some highlights of what you were saying, because I want to bring to everyone's attention based on what Baba is speaking about, based on his journey of different symptoms that his body was presenting. Um, for me, diagnosing, even though theoretically, as healers, we're really not meant to diagnose anything. Yet, as a metaphysics, which is what I love to do, is when we think about the symptoms that you were being diagnosed with, leading you in, your body was literally bringing you more into alignment to the spiritual journey that you were on. When we speak on bipolar, from some studies I have done over the years, many people being diagnosed with bipolar, in the whole process of it all, is bipolar is really, from my point of view, a mix of psychic abilities. Because when we get into that space where we're in that confused space of one moment we're happy, one moment we're a little disoriented, it really is that connection where spirit drops in, sending you so many different messages, and energetically speaking, not really knowing how to manage the energy at that time, creates that as we call it, the bipolar experience, or episode, shall we call it. And so interesting, because I'm fascinated by numbers, that experience happened when you were 6. Now, at when we talk about the number 6, the 6 is associated with your physical body, in regards to how at 6 years old, your physical body knew at that very time was an opportunity for the doors to open for you, to bring you onto this journey, to do the very things you're here to teach today. More importantly, teaching people not to take on the I am statement of I have, fill it in. Because the more we contest it and command it, the more it becomes part of us. So I so appreciate the journey you went on. Now, of course, at the time when you were on that journey, it was probably very frightening and overwhelming, and probably felt like life was just at this end. So could you tell us a little bit about, since you've experienced all that, what has your life looked like since?
Yeah, so it was really interesting with the bipolar. With the bipolar, you do get this, really depressed to really manic state. So I saw, like, afterwards, like, having multiple sclerosis was perfect because I could no longer avoid myself. I could no longer be manic and run around. I was forced, by losing the ability to walk, to go within, like, who am I? Who is this person? Because I couldn't act on these thoughts anymore. I didn't have that ability. I was confined, so it was really good with that. So ever since I got rid of this mental garbage and all these labels and identities and beliefs, and they're still there, they're mostly gone, but we are humans. The mind likes to pick up things that don't serve us. So it's a constant practice of clearing. So I do what I call a daily mental shower. What beliefs, what stories am I picking up today that need to be cleared out, that aren't serving me? So that's one of the things I came up with, was this daily mental shower of just returning back home to who we are. It's just a very simple practice. Even today, I don't sit in hours and hours of meditation. Yeah, I can do that. But then I realized, wait, I'm here for the human experience. I can always return back to spirit realm when this body drops. So I only sit for 5-10 minutes a day, and that's enough. Just coming into center, coming into who I am, and go live life and to enjoy life. It's really about enjoying life. So the biggest difference between being sick me and healthy me, sick me was always unhappy. Something was always wrong. Life wasn't working out. Now I'm like, I'm alive. It's all good. So that's the biggest shift, is my general attitude. Life is against me. Nothing is working out. So, like, life is perfect. I'm alive.
Yes, yeah. And I'm just gonna rewind back to when you made the comment about, or the insight on having MS and being in that space where you were no longer able to be distracted by all the running around. The MS literally put you in your spot, and you were now, I'm going to use the word that I'm hearing, forced to really make the connection to what was going on within you, as opposed to all the noise around you. And I think that's important that we understand this, especially for anybody that may be experiencing whatever health issues that might be arising for them at this point in time, that sometimes that when we are experiencing symptoms, it's really an opportunity for a lesson to quiet ourselves down, to slow us down, because we're so busy being distracted by all the external noise that we don't take time to go within. And I even love the fact that when you speak about your daily mental showers and not spending hours at a time in meditation, which is so powerful because we've been really taught that, okay, when we meditate we need these long spans of times to be in a state of quietness and stillness and going within, and I love that you literally have this daily mental shower of 5-10 minutes a day just to like become aware of what have you really picked up that's not yours, that you don't need to hold on to anymore, so you don't have that ongoing story. So that is extremely fascinating. So now, at this point in time in your life, doing what you're doing, and how I met you through all the different featurings that you have going on, what do you have going on right now that's exciting you?
Well, the latest insight was, and I'm really enjoying this, is doing my own podcast, my own show, which is the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. And what was coming to me with this show was that there's not one size that fits all with life, that there's multiple paths to find our truths. So I love talking to all these individuals and finding their journey. I'm not so much hung up on what they're doing right now. I want to know how they went from their difficult humanness, their difficult journey, to where they stepped in now, like how I flipped it. I want to know how they flipped it, because everyone is leading their own individual path, but we each have our own ways of getting to this perfect spirit or this essence within us. And it's interesting to hear all the different facets as I talk to more and more people and see that there's so many different paths. Some are similar and some are really diverse than where I am, to like using dance, using art, whatever it may be. It's really fascinating that all these steps and that all these steps that we take, that life is just this wonderful tapestry.
Yes, and making connections with different people to really get to know them and understanding the journeys that they're on and what led them to the very journey and to what they're doing right now is fascinating. As you mentioned, that some people's stories are similar, and then some people's stories are so far fetched out there. It's like, wow, it's amazing. And I know for me, when I connected with you on your show and you shared your story about your health history, that like literally like really set with me. Two things about it that set with me. First, that you had no what we'll call traditional healing to getting yourself from being in that, the term I'm going to use, illness into wellness, and that you were so aware at that time without even knowing how or why you were aware of it, that what you had, what you didn't have it, you didn't own it, and that you knew that it was really your tools and skills to helping others get to where they're going. So that was really the thing that fascinated me about wanting to have this connection with you.
Yeah, so it's really important. And something that's coming to me too is that my path has been completely untraditional. It's really been just one of those untraditional paths, because I didn't really talk about this. Because when I had multiple sclerosis, I was a couch potato. I watched a lot of TV, and I used to watch ghost hunting shows. But I was like, this is TV. I don't know if it's real or fake. But then I saw a tweet from a ghost hunter. Hey, we're having this event. And I said, oh, I can drive to that. I can put on my cooling vest, get my cane. It was a whole ordeal to travel with MS. But I had an experience there, and I was curious. You know, that's where I really see that curiosity really led me onto the path, because I was watching ghost hunting, but I didn't know if it was real or fake. So I went on the ghost hunt. Is this real or not? Then I had an experience there, because I was doing my research, because I could only be there for a little bit with MS before my cooling packs melted, and that'll just be a real mess then. The body overheats very easily with MS. So I went to the Casemates in Philadelphia for Fort Mifflin. And so I was sitting on a bench, and I felt somebody sitting next to me. I mean, just sat right next to me that was not there. I was like, okay, what is this spiritual realms? There are spirits here. There are ghosts. So it was this curiosity element. It's like, okay, somebody sat next to me. Who talks to dead people? Oh, mediums. Let me go pick up a book from Medium. So that led me to the curiosity part. So, okay, reading about this. Then they had 2 pages on meditation on this book. I don't even know if I finished the book, but they had 2 pages, and I had MS. My eyesight was really poor. I could maybe read for 10, 15 minutes before I would get a migraine or just have issues. So it took a very long time to get through this. But eventually I got to the meditation part and how they use meditation to get into their space and all of this. Well, one of the things we were talking about, the benefits of meditation. One of the benefits of meditation was inner peace. I'm like, I need inner peace. I was so stressed out, so overwhelmed with life. And the only instruction they gave for meditation was to sit quietly, have a soothing environment. That was basically it. So if you told my bipolar OCD brain all the rules to meditation, I'd be like, am I doing this right? Are my hands right? Am I posture right? Am I breathing right? And I would never gotten out of the mind. So,
Yeah.
but I was also, because this book talks so little about meditation, I thought meditation means you stop thinking. So I would sit there in my relaxed state, and what does the mind do? It starts yammering away, starts thinking. So I'll be like, stop thinking. Mind starts yammering away. I say, stop thinking. So I was on this hamster wheel. So for about 5 or 6 days of this, and I was like, stop myself. Wait a second here. That's a thought chasing a thought. I'm aware of my thoughts, so I can't be my thoughts. So if I'm not my thoughts, who am I? So that's where that led me. And that was within a week. I had that epiphany. I'm not my thoughts. And that was really critical. That was like a huge aha moment for me, because I was in my 20s and suicidal. I always took that voice as my truth, and I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. And you get suicidal when you believe that as your truth. And when I can even look back now, the psychiatrist I was seeing for 17, 18 years, for a very long time, he never once said to me, why are your thoughts the truth? He never asked me that.
That's a great question.
Yeah, why doesn't they would always reframe questions, they would always reframe things, but they would never say and stop and say, well, why is that true?
Yeah, it's almost similar to a question I ask my clients when we're talking about something. I ask them, so do you believe that to be true for you? So if somebody has said something to them and they took offense to it, it's like, okay, always want to ask yourself, do you believe what they just said to be true for you? And then you get the choice to decide on whether I do or I don't. And if you don't, then you have to come up with a different truth for yourself. And if you do, then you got to own the fact that this is what you believe.
Right. And to realize it's a belief, it's not a truth.
Exactly. Now, when you're speaking about the meditation process, the one thing I definitely want the audience to understand, at least from my experience, is when we meditate, once upon a time, they used to, at least the way I was taught about it, is that there was really one true way to meditate, the whole practice, like the sitting in the lotus pose and getting really formal about it. Nowadays, meditation is like literally, whereas if you're standing at your sink washing dishes, you can meditate in the process of just running your hands and washing the dishes, just to be in that state of being, or focusing on that one thought. Whether it's a word you want to focus on, or if let's say a thought that keeps coming to mind, there's a reason why that thought might be coming to mind. So maybe to tap in and ask, why is the thought showing up right now? So there's so many powerful ways that one can meditate. And I don't believe there is any wrong way to meditate. Now, what is your favorite way of meditating?
Yeah, so it's just a process of mindfulness, of keeping yourself in the present moment. That's all meditation is keeping yourself in the present moment. Because when you're in the present moment, you're aligned with spirit, your soul that's always here in this moment. So when you're fully here in this moment, so you're washing the dishes, you're feeling the water, you're aware of the water. You can't be aware of the water and thoughts. So that's meditation, because you're only focused on the present moment. That's it. Your hands are under the water. And so when you find yourself in these thoughts, like my practice was when I was sitting there and the mind would start yammering, I would just like, where are my feet? Where are my hands? Where am I sitting? And just bring myself back into this moment. So I was learning presence, and I didn't realize the power of now that's always talked about, the power of being in this moment. because we're the strongest when we're here in this moment, because we are aligned to spirit, to soul. So we are the strongest when we are exactly in this moment. Whenever you're in thoughts, you're making yourself weak. So you need to really just focus on being here and trusting that wisdom, that guidance that comes naturally, because you are spirit, you are soul, and it's always speaking to you. But this voice is always drowning it out. You'll have an aha moment, and your mind will tell you 10 reasons why that's wrong.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So as we get ready to end 2024 and move into 2025, are you looking for new clients to work with?
Yeah, and I make it simple for people to Beyond Head Trash is join the Vibrant Soul Society. It's just a group that I have my community on Circle, and I'm live 2-3 times a week. We do healing circles, we do workshops, we do psychic readings. And my wife joins me for the psychic readings, and it's really interesting. We just got some feedback yesterday. Somebody lost their aunt last week, and we were doing a message for them. And this week they confirmed what we saw, that I was seeing a jewelry box. I had no idea. I was just seeing a jewelry box. My wife was seeing documents. So we get back this feedback. Oh, they found the jewelry box in the closet empty, just with a note in it.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So before we come to the conclusion of our conversation for tonight, I have 2 questions. First question is, how can the audience reach out to you? I know that I have your website strolling on the bottom, which is beyondheadtrash.com. Is there an email that they can reach out to you, or is there an email on your website that they can go right to?
Yeah, it's just babasam@beyondheadtrash.com is a way to directly email. And I am literally all over the place getting the message out that you are greater than your thoughts.
Yes, I love that. And what is your final words that you would like to leave our viewers who are watching with us right now, or viewers who will be watching this later?
The biggest thing is to relax. The more you can relax, the more you can get yourself in the present moment, you will have the answer that you are seeking. This makes no sense because we've always been taught to figure it out. How do I do this? That your mind wasn't trained to do that. Your mind was trained to execute instructions from spirit. So spirit knows the answer. The mind executes those. So we just need to relax, get yourself into the moment, ask yourself those big questions, and just trust whatever comes. Whatever feels right to you is right. And it's really about being your own guide, your own muse, that you are the answer you seek. We're too busy being distracted, but relax. You have the answers within you.
Yes. And as I said earlier, for anybody who's just showing up now, one of the things that really attracted me to Baba was a combination of his journey that he's been on, and the fact that he is what's called a on cusp energy of Capricorn and Aquarian. And next 20 years is going to be quite interesting for you. And what I would like to do, if you're open to it, I would like to pull a card for you to give you some insight to what 2025 may look like for you. Are you open to that?
Yeah, it's great. I loved when you pulled the card on my show. It was one of my highlights. It's so lined up with everything that we were talking about.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do now is I just going to just shuffle the deck and just asking the cards, what is it you would need to know in the openings of 2025, and see what shows up for you. Because 2025 is going to be a magnificent year of energy, because there's so many different shifts that are coming through, and how you show up in your role doing what you do as a spiritual teacher and healer. Whoops, there goes the card. I love it. They just fly out. And the message is clarity. Clarity. Now, for most people, the word clarity would mean to quiet themselves down for them to get clarity. What this is meaning for me, for you, is that you already have the clarity. You're here to help others find their clarity, is what I'm hearing. The color is associated with the high heart. So this is really about moving into a space of more joy and more compassion, and bringing that joy and compassion into the work that you do for others, so they can feel your energy just as I do, and embrace the work that you're here doing. And I believe your biggest message as you're here is really helping those who do struggle with the connection of them believing they have an illness or disease and that attachment to it. And I believe that through your words, through your wisdom, and through your healing, you are going to definitely help many people transition out of that attachment that they have. The number 29, so perfect. We're talking about the number 2. It is about the relationships you have with everybody, the relationship you have with your physical body, as your physical body is your temple and has definitely led you down this miracle, as I hear it, the miracle journey through all the different, as I say, issues in your tissues that you begin to release from different ages in your lifetime. That 9 energy is all about how you're letting go and you're tapping into your higher consciousness and higher wisdom, and you're transforming through that. Bring those 2 numbers together, we get 11. So 11 in numerology is known as a master number. It's the master healer. And here you are, being the healer, being the spiritual teacher, being in your mastery. And that's what 2025, the gateways to 2025 is going to bring for you. A lot more on your journey of helping through your journey that you've been on, where you have you're exploring beyond your time. And what I'm hearing is that you've done the work that you came here to do. Now you're basically here as a volunteer, so to speak. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yes, it's right on point of what I'm trying to do. The clarity is perfect. And when I sat with that, when I said, "What is my soul purpose?" and I was just hearing, remembering my truth, helping others remember their truth.
Again, thank you so much for bringing your energy here tonight, for sharing your time with me, and just sharing your wisdom and being so brave to share and take on disagreements, because I like to look at our stories as agreements and contracts that we create prior to birth, and making the decision in this lifetime to go through all the different body lessons that you had to experience, spiritual calibrations that you had to go through to get to where you are today. So I commend you on that. I thank you on that. And with all that being said, we're going to say good night to everybody. And until we meet again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, Joanne. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace to all.